Hey guys, welcome to another top 10 video, and today we will be talking about top 10 Resident Evil monsters. With the recent release of Resident Evil 2 Remake, which is probably almost maybe half a year old, which I don't care, and me getting into Resident Evil like the old ones, from Resident 1 all the way to Resident Evil 2 Remake. I've played almost all of them except for 4, in 2 and 3 and 7 and Remake 2 and Remake for 1. I have not played those, and Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0. I have not played those yet. That's pretty much a handful. But I've played the recent ones, like Resident Evil Operation, Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2, 5, 6. I've played those, but I have had a handful of monster experience, and we are going to continue this list. Now let's begin. Number 10, the Licker. The reason why I picked Licker as number 10 is because really, whenever I first saw him, which is in Resident Evil 5, whenever he had his crazy variation of the Licker B, he was pretty darn terrifying, but not that terrifying to where he'd want me to straight up be scared. The Lickers were basically the hunters in Resident Evil 2. That's when they first made their first appearance, and hunted Leon and Claire down. And there's also a black Licker, to where they had more thickish skin and their claws were humongous. Number 9, the Hunter. Now the Hunter has gone through many variants, but now I'm going to talk about the first remake, Resident Evil Remake. Now these things are pretty scary, and they have a really cool entrance. They actually do a first-person view of the hunters. I'll show you it in a minute. Give me 1 second. Alright, so I got the cutscene for the hunter in HD remastered remake, so let's watch it. That's what I meant. Okay. Ignore all that. But that's what I basically meant. Was the hunters had a great presentation. Even the Lickers. Whenever you first encountered a Licker, you only saw them in the window of the police station in Raccoon City. You only see a glimpse of them. And then you see drilling from upside the ceiling, and then Licker falls down. But the Lickers, I loved the Lickers as a kid, but whenever I saw the hunters, I thought they were more scary, and I just really liked the hunters. Let's move on. Number 8, Giant, or El Gigante. I should have just renamed it El Gigante, but these are, the first appearance of him was in Resident Evil 4, and then he also popped up in Resident Evil 5, and maybe was even in Resident Evil 6. But let's talk about Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 was whenever the franchise went into more action, and that was probably, in my opinion, the second best game. The first best game was Resident Evil 5, and no one can take that away from me. But the El Gigante is basically a failed experiment of the Regenerators, which I believe are in this list. But this is what happens whenever you have one Las Plagas, or multiple Las Plagas, but one of the Las Plagas absorb the other ones, which makes the mutation of the El Gigante turn into a giant zombie, which these are mentioned as failed experiments. So the first time you actually fight one is whenever you're in a battle arena, I think, and it actually is in ropes and chains, and then it kills the other villagers, or the infected villagers, and then comes after you. Second time is that you actually find them in the mines with, like, prisoner gear and all of that on him, which means that the reason why they're failed experiments is because there's not the Regenerators, so really they're used for probably doing heavy work and carrying heavy objects to one place to the other. So they're basically prisoners, just not really full prisoners. Now to the next one. William Birkin. Now, I have no clue why my head sat and put it in number 7. I know if people watch this, they'll probably be very angry. But I don't really have any good excuse. Whenever I made this, it was maybe 5 or 4 years ago, and I wasn't really that interested in William Birkin. Now, I actually am very much in love with him, and I would love to do another list of top 10 Resident Evil monsters, the second one. But really, William Birkin, his first transformation didn't really catch my eye, but then the next one made me so fascinated. I thought it was really cool, but in my opinion, I think there are some pretty other cool monsters to talk about than this one. I don't know why, but whenever I saw the remastered, or the remake, Resident Evil 2 remake, it made me even like this creature or boss even more, because he looked more alive. He didn't look all pixelated or drawing. He looked devastating. Let's continue. Number 6, Ouroboros. Now, like I said, I'm in love with Resident Evil 5, and this is one of the reasons. When I first encountered Ouroboros, I wasted all of my ammo and died because I didn't know what to do against him. But then eventually I figured out that you had to burn him alive. And the final form, not the final form, but the ultimate form of whenever an Ouroboros absorbs more and more matter or bodies into it, or more living beings, it becomes like a giant mutant. Like someone said, its weakness is fire, so if someone were to infect someone with the Ouroboros, drop them in the ocean, and then let hit the Ouroboros the infected host that has Ouroboros, absorb everything in the ocean, it could be almost, let's say 10 times the size of a kraken. And it would just sit and rule the ocean, and fire could not stop it. So there would be really no way to stop it unless you had like a Resident Evil 5 to stop the big one, the satellite, to send a laser beam down and destroy it, I believe. But there could be so many points of it, and you could even spread its own Ouroboros virus onto other people to make a whole world of Ouroboros. Even the strongest ones that try to resist, like Wesker, yeah, he has the T-virus, but doesn't mean that he won't be consumed by Ouroboros eventually. Like the final boss with Ouroboros Wesker, he was being consumed by it, but the T-virus was holding him back, but transformed the Ouroboros into a tyrant Ouroboros, which I thought was pretty cool. On to the next one. Number 5, the Reaper. Now, the Reaper is what happens whenever you mix a little bit of praying mantis with a cockroach with the Las Plagas virus, I believe, or some type of virus. This is the result of the Reaper. The Reaper is whenever you first encounter him, you don't actually get to see him. You just see him in these cocoons, and you don't know what it is. I've tried to shoot him, destroy him, burn him. Nothing happens. But whenever you first encounter it, it's on a bridge in close to the last chapter. Whenever it gets like the military part. Whenever the Reaper came down, it scared me. And then the Reaper has an ability has two abilities: to insta-kill you and project gas from its body that blurs your vision, makes you kind of look like they're drunk. And I thought that was pretty sick, but it terrified me because I couldn't aim right. So eventually I just shot a bunch of rocket launcher ammo at him, or grenades at him, just to kill him. On to the next one. Wesker, number 4. Number 4, Wesker. Now, to me, I love Wesker, and I consider him one of the best bosses in Capcom. But other people like to disagree and say he's annoying, but I don't think he is. Yeah, maybe in the first one with his Pikachu hair color, and yeah, I could kind of agree. And the voice acting was kind of stupid, and the plot would be so really stupid. But come on, he was the one that just made the tyrant, the T-virus, and made the tyrant, made the zombies, made Cerberus, and all of that. Even made zombie sharks. And he even injected himself with it, and became the first superhuman with the T-virus. He didn't turn out like William Birkin, well, eventually he did in Resident Evil 5, and he has a wife and a son, and they both have the T-virus. But the wife is more demented than the son, and the son is a good guy. So, I think Wesker is really good. On to the next one. Number 3, Nemesis. Now, I don't really like Nemesis because he's really over popular. Like, a lot of people love him. He's overrated. I like him in the Marvel vs. Capcom games. He's really fun in that, and he even was my main until I picked up Wesker, and he became the main. But really, I just don't think Nemesis is that great. He's just more of an annoyance to me. Yeah, even if he had a game with him, but really, he doesn't even look that scary. Sure, I put him at number 3, but still. And I've seen some gameplay of him. The only reason why I put him at number 3 is because of his tentacles, his rocket launcher, and his final form. So where the virus inside him doesn't really agree with him, and he just starts to turn into a massive monster, which I think is pretty sick. Number 2, the Tyrant. Now, I know the Tyrant is the OG, and whenever I played Resident Evil 1, I didn't really get to finish it, but I saw some things of the Tyrant, and oh my god, he looks beautiful. Looks like one of the sickest monsters you can see in Resident Evil. So, the story behind the Tyrant, or the T-Virus, is that whenever a person is injected with the T-Virus, or consumes the T-Virus, they have a chance, a sliver chance, to turn into a Tyrant, which is like an ultimate zombie that cannot be killed unless you blow it up, which I think is really sick. And there are different forms of them, like in Resident Evil 2, the Mr. X, whenever he's chasing you around, he's a Tyrant. He even shows it in his last boss fight. Nemesis, he has the Tyrant virus in him. Wesker, he has the T-Virus in him, which gives him the ability to kind of morph with Ouroboros to make an Ouroboros Tyrant, but still in human form. There are multiple versions of the Tyrants. There's even one in Outbreak to where a blob of a monster, or the blob monster, whatever he is, absorb a Tyrant to make him even stronger. It's really sick and really crazy, and I thought it was really cool. Even Nemesis has absorbed a Tyrant whenever his final form came. It made him even stronger and indestructible. Now, my top pick in number 1 Resident Evil monster is a Regenerator, or is a Regenerator, or as it's most commonly known, and his cousin, the Iron Maiden. Now, whenever I first saw this creature, I was terrified. But I thought this creature looked so fascinating, but yet so creepy to the fact that I didn't even want to fight or do anything with it again. Then I saw the Iron Maiden, and I instantly fell in love. So I did some research with these things. Basically, the reason behind this virus was to create a super soldier and make it regenerate and never die. But during the process of the Las Plagas consuming him, or the Las Plagas consuming the host, eventually failed into many failed experiments, which the Iron Maiden and the Regenerator was one of them. Now, they wanted the super soldier to have conscience, not be like an animalistic monster. Now, to my surprise, or to my hunch, this is a hunch, remember I'm not good at hunches, that the Iron Maiden was first, because really, how could a super soldier have spikes and no eyes? It hunts by sound and smell, I believe, or just by sound, because I don't see a nose. But the Regenerator is able to see, but I believe it doesn't have that good eyesight because of how small the eyes are, so you'd have to make some kind of sound for it to do. And also, they even have, the Iron Maidens have extendable arms, and the Regenerators can even leap at you like a frog just eating you. Whenever you shoot the legs off the Regenerator, it will start to squirm like a snake and then jump up on your neck and try to eat, and then start mowing down at your neck. With the Iron Maiden, is able to extend his arms like Mr. Fantastic Four and pull you in, and let the spikes extend and literally pierce you for all feeling. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and leave your comments down in the section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.